big Supreme Court decision, struck down affirmative action in college admissions, specifically against Harvard and UNC. And this case only really was able to go through because the discrimination was directed not only toward white people, but also toward Asian students. Had this just been about discriminating against white people, I don't think the court would have struck it down, because we just live in a culture where white people are denigrated. They're not only legally discriminated against, but also the culture encourages uniquely white people to be denigrated, insulted, called, the worst people in the world. And the courts read the newspapers and they watch the election returns, and I think probably affirmative action would have remained in place had it only been about white people. But the libs got greedy and they attacked Asian people because Asians have the highest test scores, which really undermines a lot of the narrative around white privilege and whatever other nonsense the libs talk about. So because this case could be framed as one racial minority being oppressed by, I guess, another racial minority oppressor or something, because the white people didn't really factor into it too much, affirmative action gets struck down. And I celebrated this and I said, wow, this is great news. It had just broken when I came on air. But I said, the one bit of caution I'll give you here is the schools are going to continue to discriminate. They're just going to do so by reducing the importance of objective measures and standardized tests, and they're going to inflate the importance of, say, the personal statement and these more ambiguous criteria for college admissions, such that if you say, I am an oppressed person, Black Lives Matter in your personal statement, then that will be given greater weight. And that's how the schools will continue to discriminate against whites and probably Asians too. Well, I really do hate to say I told you so here. Harvard already proved me right within hours. Harvard sent out this notice. Dear members of the Harvard community, today the Supreme Court delivered its decision in Students for Fair Admissions versus President and Fellows of Harvard College. The court held that Harvard College admission system does not comply with the principles of the Equal Protection Clause embodied in the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. The court also ruled that colleges and universities may consider in admissions decisions, quote, an applicant's discussion of how race affected his or her life, be it through discrimination, inspiration, or otherwise. We will certainly comply with the court's decision. And there you go. There it is. I did not predict that they would admit to this so openly, but they did. It makes me feel good that they basically said, dear members of the Harvard community, the thing Michael said on his show is exactly what we're going to do. So I get a kick out of that. I like being right about these predictions, but that's really on the nose. It's so brazen. It makes a mockery of the Supreme Court and the system of law. And that's amazing coming from one of our nation's most prestigious universities. They would say, yeah, we can ask an applicant to discuss how race has affected his or her life. So that's what they're going to put on the application now. Say okay, we can't ask what race you are, or we can't force you to tell us this, and we can't give weight to, if you're black, you get an extra 200 points or something, and if you're white or Asian, you lose 200 points. But we can give an outsized weight to this question, how has race affected your life? And just depending on how we feel about your answer, that's going to affect it. So Harvard is saying we are going to continue to discriminate against white people and against Asian people in admissions, and Supreme Court, you can go pound sand. Right now, go to cinch.com, use promo code Knowles. 4th of July is upon us, with many wonderful family gatherings popping up. The last thing that you need when hosting your family is turning on the grill and being out of propane. That would be terrible. That's where our friends at Cinch come in. Cinch is a propane grill tank home delivery service. They deliver propane tanks right to your door on your schedule. They do not require any long-term commitment or subscription. Plus, delivery is completely contactless. You don't have to wait around at home. Track the order on the Cinch app from anywhere. The perfect summer night would not be complete without Cinch. Go online to cinch.com or download the Cinch app to order. New customers can get their first tank exchange for just $10 with promo code Knowles. Cinch.com or download the Cinch app. Use promo code Knowles to get your first tank exchange for just $10. This is a limited time offer. You must live within a Cinch service area to redeem it. Visit cinch.com right now /offer for details and make sure that you sign up. Summer is here, baby. It's the 4th of July. Do not even have to think about your propane tank. Cinch.com, promo code Knowles. Other schools have been saying a similar thing. think we've got another one here. Yeah. So this some coverage. This is from Danielle Wren Holly, president of Mount Holyoke College. Will it become more opaque, this application process? Yes, it will have to. It's a complex process, and this opinion will make it even more complex. I mean, it won't make it more complex in the outcome, which is whites and Asians will be discriminated against. Black people and other racial groups will have an advantage, and they're just going to do it in a way that's a little bit more complex. They're going to have to ask a long answer question instead of just checking a box, but that will continue. And so forget about the college admissions, forget about the race discrimination question for a second. This poses a great challenge to our entire system of law and order, and it accelerates a trend that we've seen for years now, which is nobody has faith in our system of law anymore. Nobody has faith in our institutions. And the Republicans are blamed for this because the Republicans are the insurrectionists from January 6th, the worst day in American history. But much more than the Republicans and the conservative, it's the liberals and the Democrats who have undermined our system of law and order and our political institutions. They've questioned many more elections for far flimsier reasons than the conservatives had for a much longer time. They've undermined our system of law, and they've turned our system of law, which is supposed to be primarily a matter of interpretation, interpreting eternal principles of justice in the natural law and applying them to changing political circumstances in our positive civil law. They've changed that to merely an act of the will. No, we're not going to say that there's any objective moral order or natural law or anything. That's all bunk. We're just going to impose whatever the hell we want through whatever legal mechanisms we possibly can, unjust though they may be. Well, by doing that, you undermine our faith in the system of justice. The idea that Lady Justice is blind with her scales, no, that's gone now. Justice will be meted out more intensely to political enemies and more leniently to political friends. You see this even in the construction of courtrooms. Courtrooms used to be gigantic. Think of the Supreme Court building in Washington, D.C. Big, sturdy, marble temples, unchanging, heavy. And now what are they? They're tiny little brutalist office rooms with low ceilings where you don't feel that weight of the law and the weight of history and the unchanging questions and principles of justice. Feels like any other bureaucrat's office where things can change on a dime, and frequently they do. That's the libs doing that. And it's now being pushed by supposedly one of the most prestigious colleges in the country. You can expect all the other colleges to follow suit. Boy, that was a great clip. I know, I agree. Make sure that you get more of them by subscribing here to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. Ring the bell. We'll see you next time.